Hello everyone, Chief Weather Forecaster Beckett Webb here, and welcome to this very special presentation of looking back on Hurricane Helene and the coverage on Highland Weather TV and me and forecaster Mason's take on the storm. So it was just a normal day inside the Highland Weather studios. I was getting prepared for the weather update for the next day, for Monday. That's how we normally do our forecast there. And as I was continuing it, I got a notification on my phone, notification on the studio computer, that the National Hurricane Center has started to issue advisories on potential tropical cyclone. And then it was still in the Caribbean. It still hasn't made impact into the Gulf just yet. But whenever I was looking at that impact there, I noticed that the track was showing its direct impact into Western North Carolina. Again, this was about a week out from when the storm hit, and I was just sitting there, and at that exact same time, while getting that forecast ready, stuff started coming up in my head going like, is this storm going to be okay? Is this going to be another storm? Normal storm like Fred? Because in 2021, we got impacted by Fred, and we all thought that that was the worst storm we've ever witnessed. Well, little did we know, a week after the first part of that track came out, that there would be the most catastrophic hurricane to ever impact Western North Carolina, a once-in-a-lifetime storm. Well, I was doing the regular weather updates as normal. Again, this was about 5 or 6 days out, again, until the direct impact of Helene. And as I was doing the update there, I was looking at the forecast models. I was getting the weather update ready for the day. It was normal day, normal weather update, everything like normal. And as I was looking at the weather models, I noticed something different than what I normally see. I looked at the rainfall totals, and the rainfall totals were looking to be a lot higher than I expected. Now we were seeing, this was a few days before the storm hit, so there was still a lot of not accurate forecasts out during that time. So as I was forecasting that storm, I looked at the rainfall track, and the rainfall track had 4 to 6, even up to 8+ inches of rainfall. I think the maximum during that time was about 10 inches of rainfall. And I was going like, oh my goodness, this may be a big rain event. So I decided to take it onto social media. I decided to post on the Highland Weather social media page, let everyone know that I noticed this on one of the models, that this may be the worst storm with rain. Like, we may see, this may be, I think the thought during that time was, it may be as bad as what we saw during Tropical Depression Fred or other prior big flooding events. I didn't think much into it, because during these types of storms, we always see 10 inches rainfall. Yes, it's always a bad storm. It's always bad. But it always ends within the next couple of days. But the thing is the worst part of it didn't pop up until 4 or 5 days, 3 or 4 days, my mistake, before the storm hit. I was doing the forecast as normal, again, for the next day. And I was looking at the forecast models. I was already aware of how bad the rain may be. But then I was looking at the wind, and one of the wind models was suggesting winds of 55 to 65, even upwards of 75 miles per hour, and possibly making into that hurricane force. And I was sitting there, and I stopped for a moment. I was just looking at this forecast model. I took about 15-20 minutes extra time of what I normally do with the weather updates. I took a long time looking at that storm. Looking at that wind. And it was running through my mind, is this going to be a big storm? So I decided to post out again about how bad this storm may actually be, with the wind, everything like that. And winds we're seeing of 65. I think even upstate South Carolina had winds of 75 miles per hour possible with that forecast model there. So I decided to put it on social media and just let the viewers know that this may be a big wind and rain event. Now, we were doing the regular live streams, so I decided that as soon as I think it was Hurricane Helene made it into the Gulf, one of our then tropical weather specialists, before Connor, one of our tropical weather specialists, contacted me directly and went like, we need to go live. So I contacted the entire Highland Weather team, let them know that if you want to join, we're going live talking about Hurricane Helene, talking about what the impacts we may see. And again, this was way before it even made landfall in Florida. We were just looking at the storm. And he had technical issues, so I had to take over. Mason had to take over. Alex already mentioned it a little bit too. And we were just looking at the storm. We were saying that this is an impressive eye of a hurricane. I believe it was Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane during that time frame. And little did we know that it was going to be worse off here hitting an ashfall than we've ever seen before. Well, we decided to do something that we normally don't do. Normally, whenever big severe weather events happen, we always like to go on red mode to let our viewers know that how bad this storm may actually be. However, this was the first time in recorded history of our television network that we decided to do red mode 3-4 days in advance before the storm hit. We decided to go on red mode as soon as the outer bands of Helene started pushing its way into western North Carolina there. And if you don't know the reason why we kept on getting all those bands of moderate to very heavy rainfall, even though the storm was still miles away before making landfall in Florida and the Gulf, the main reason was there was a cold front that was near the Tennessee line, towards the Tennessee Valley area, that was pushing all of that. So all of the moderate to very heavy rainfall was getting pushed up from that, just pushing its way into western North Carolina. So we sat in very heavy rainfall early Thursday morning. And during that morning hours there, whenever I woke up, I noticed online that one of the roads in Hendersonville, one of the forecasters actually mentioned this, so I want to give Alex credit there. He sent me this picture, and it was Hendersonville Road near the Walgreens. If you're familiar with Hendersonville, near the Hendersonville Road near Walgreens was completely underwater. And keep in mind, this was before the worst of the storm hit. So this was just the outer bands of the rainfall, and the water was so high that you couldn't even see the road on that traffic camera. So we all knew that this was going to be bad during that time frame. So we went live during that time. We mentioned it live on air and everything like that. Here are a few clips from Hurricane Helene, from our coverage there prior to where the storm hit. So this is where the outer bands of the moderate to very heavy rainfall were forecasting and moving its way through. Something to talk about, which you can see on the red scrolling text down below above you. And I'm going to read this out word for word from the National Service. And this is something that you have to keep in mind here. Catastrophic flooding and landslides for the mountains and foothills from Hurricane Helene. Let me make sure. Yeah, from Hurricane Helene. This will be one of the most significant weather events to happen in the western portion of the area. Get this. In the modern era, record flooding is forecasted and has been the floods of 1916, which I do want you to keep in mind, killed a lot of people. Please keep in mind that in the Asheville area. The impacts from this event are expected to be greater than Tropical Storm Fred from August 2021. The mountains in 2004 from Francis and Ivan, and upstate South Carolina's Saluda River Basin flooding from 1949, which I'm not familiar with that, so I'm not able to compare it. We plead with everyone that you take every single warning very seriously through the entirety of this event, as impacts will be life-threatening, and make sure multiple ways to receive the alerts. The protection of life and property is the overall mission of the National Weather Service, and we plead to stand by the folks of the Western Carolinas and Northeast Georgia. We cannot stress the significance of this event enough. Heed all evacuation orders from your local emergency centers, and go to a storm shelter if you do not feel safe at your current location. Landslides include fast-moving debris flows consisting of water, mud, falling rocks, trees, and other large debris are most likely within the small valleys that drain deep slopes. Landslides are powerful, but potentially deadly, capable of washing out roads, bridges, and homes. People living in the area prone to landslides should be aware of the danger and be prepared to act. That is word for word of what the National Weather Service is saying and what we've been saying this entire time about tropical. It's going to become tropical storm, which it affects here, but right now, Hurricane Helene. This is going to be basically an historic event. Amount of power outages that we're about to see is going to be crazy. I have no doubt here in the center that we're going to be without power by tomorrow morning. And I have no doubt a lot of places in Western North Carolina will be without power. Because the amount of rain that we're having now and the amount of rain that we're about to see is just insane. Yes, we were in a drought. We did need the rain, but we don't need this much rain. We don't need 30 inches of rain. If the rain was not happening like the way it is now, if this hurricane tropical storm was making its way up here and we aren't getting these rounds of heavy rainfall like we are now, we would just see a big heavy wind and rain event, maybe a little bit of flooding. But with the amount of rainfall that we're continuing to get here, way before the arrival of the tropical storm, it's just insane. And the way of the National Weather Service, the way of the wording that they're saying is also insane. You can see here, tropical storm warnings are currently all in effect. Around 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, I decided to stay up and wait until landfall of Hurricane Helene in the panhandle of Florida. It was still continuing to rain during that time, but it didn't cross my mind that much because I was so concerned about seeing the landfall of Hurricane Helene. So I waited and waited. It didn't happen. And then, funny enough, my mom came up to me and told me, after all the things that I've told her about how bad this storm might actually be, she came up to me and told me, you may want to get some sleep before the storm hits, just in case you get woken up in the early morning hours. So I decided to take up on that, decided to, because I knew the water was going, to take a shower, everything like that, get ready for bed. I went to bed around 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up to my weather radio going off. Weather radio was going off for a flash flood warning during that time. So I decided, at that time, that's when the first part of the power flicker happened, which shut off a lot of the equipment for Highland Weather. So I decided to get up, walk on over, turn on all the servers for the network, put everything back on air, laid back down. 5 minutes later, that's when I believe the cable for the wiring for the Wi-Fi started getting pulled out. So we lost Wi-Fi after that for at least 5 good minutes. And during that time, I was sitting there listening to absolutely nothing. I was still trying to process me waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I normally don't do that. And during that time, I hear 5, 6, 7 trees fall all behind me because my room is, the building is near a forest. And I'm like, this may not be a good spot to ride out the storm. So I got up, and me as a weather person, weather people who like storms don't really do the smartest thing. So I decided to walk on over, went to the biggest room possible with the massive window in the household, and I stood there and I just decided to stand there and watch. And during that time, we saw multiple transformers just boom in the distance. You could see the flash from the transformers. And during that time, it went through my head, maybe I should check the Duke Energy website and see, because I was curious during that time, how many people are without power. So I look, our neighborhood is all out except for us. Our street and the street next to us are the only people that still have power, and we get our power from a neighborhood that is on the highest point possible in this neighborhood, which I was surprised. And during that time, we heard transformers boom. All of a sudden, we see all the lights, everything shut off. And this is the time my mom came in, and we both looked at each other and went like, that was it. That had to be it. 5 seconds later, everything came back on. All the lights came back on. And we were just so surprised that we even still have power. I went like, this power is going to go out. So I decided not to turn the equipment back on. So 5 minutes later, I went like, it's still on. The wind is getting worse. How do we still have power? So I decided to walk back into the studio, the backup studio during that time, put everything on air. 5 minutes later, that's when everything shuts off. That's when all the power completely shuts down. And that was because a tree fell on the bottom of the hill, bottom of our street, and then at the top of our street too, which cut both the power lines down. And there was no point in going to bed during that time. I was wide awake, so I went over. Luckily, I had batteries. I grabbed my weather radio during that time. I pulled it next to me, and I sat again next to the biggest window possible in the entire house. And it went off multiple times about flash flood warning. It went off one time for a flash flood warning down the street from us, with another flash flood warning we live in Buncombe County, so it went off for Buncombe County again, saying catastrophic flooding is expected. Here comes 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. This is when the worst of it actually starts to push its way in. And it was going through my mind that, oh my goodness, we're seeing the worst part of the storm. And I didn't know what to think about. So I decided to walk away from the window during that time, and I walked into the bathroom. And whenever I was walking into the bathroom, suddenly I hear more trees fall. And it looked like a big downburst happened. The fog, the wind, the rain just started pushing its way in, and it looked like a downburst to me. And suddenly, during that time, 7, 8, 9, possibly even 10 trees fell within the span of 2 seconds. And I went like, this is not good at all. And suddenly, my radio goes off. All the phones go off. Flash flood warning, landslides, all of that. And I was going like, oh boy, this is not good. So I ran out, and then my parents and me, we both came together to talk about what was going on. And we look up, and then we see the trees down on our street. So where I am right now is where we hid during the entirety of the storm. So the storm moved out around 10, 11 o'clock in the evening there, in the afternoon there. And I decided to venture out with one of my neighbors, see the damage. The damage was awful. We were lucky here. We didn't get much damage, but trees on houses, everything like that, it was a lot. And here comes 3, 4 o'clock. We're talking to our next door neighbors, looking at my phone because I'm still trying to figure out backup mode. We knew we were going to be without power, and the water was starting to go out during that time. We look at our phones, and the phones show SOS only. And we were going like, why does it show SOS only? And we were like, oh, it must be a little technical issue. So 5 minutes later, came back on. Nothing happened. Then it came on SOS only again during that time. And oh my goodness, we were without data for a whole 2 days. So we had to rely on radio the entire time. So here are a few clips here during that time frame. I also forecasted Mason's clip here of during the storm, in the storm during that time, of how bad it actually was whenever he was live on air, whenever I couldn't be, whenever he was live on air talking about the latest flash floods.
Hi, I'm Mason Willetts, former backup weather forecaster for Highland Weather. I think that what was going through my mind the entire time when I was talking about like the storm track and the uh, threats that were expected with Hurricane Helene and all the other stuff, I think that what's going through my mind was the damage, how bad the damage was going to be, and because I've seen pictures of hurricane damage and it's just awful when it happens. So that was going through my mind, and also I was thinking about the devastation, and that was going to go through people's minds. Plus worrying about whether or not there was going to be lives lost, really, and worrying about just overall how it was going to have an impact on everyone. I think I did have thoughts about how bad the damage was going to be from the flooding, even prior to Hurricane Helene actually hitting. But I think there's always going to be concerns whenever you're talking about how bad the damage is going to be from flooding that occurs from any hurricane or tropical storm that hits your area. So I think we always have thoughts about how bad the damage is going to be. But yes, I did have thoughts about how catastrophic the damage is going to be. Yeah. I don't think there's anything better that we could have done to when we were warning our viewers about how bad the storm was going to be. I think we did an outstanding job warning people, getting the warnings out there as fast as we did in a timely manner, and giving people the heads up that they needed to be able to prepare for the storm before it even came on shore, before it came inland. We did a good job with staying up to date on the latest information that was coming out from both the National Weather Service, storm reports from the community and law enforcement, and also the latest information that was coming out from the National Hurricane Center. We did a fantastic job on keeping up with all that. And so I don't think there's anything better that we could have done when we were warning our viewers about that. We did everything like amazingly. So, and I'm very proud of the work that we did. And yeah, that's why I loved covering that storm, because when you're dealing with something that bad, you only have so much time to be able to get the warnings out and to get the information out to people that they need. Really, a lot of people may think that it was a drill, but no, it was not a drill. It was the real deal. And so, yeah, it's all thanks to us. It's all thanks to us, and it's all thanks to all the other people that covered it as well. I'm very, very proud of the work that we did in covering the storm live on air. So, yeah.
These green polygons right here, those are flash flood warnings, okay? We have a ton of them, okay? Flash flood emergency now for Alexander, Burke, Caldwell, and McDowell counties in North Carolina. That goes until 2:30 this afternoon. That is a lot, really, folks. I cannot stress this enough to you guys. You have to be prepared. You have to get away from those streets and creeks, really. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at the alerts, okay? And these are going to be current alerts that are in effect, okay? We have a flood watch. We have a flood watch that is in effect We have flash flood warnings that are in effect. We have tropical storm warnings in effect. We have a wind advisory, a high wind warning in effect as well. We have a tornado watch that goes until 8 a.m. this morning. I have a tropical tracker and we're gonna make it there. Okay, so obviously, and by the way, Hurricane Helene has made landfall now. Okay, so it's made landfall. So we're gonna see where the latest projection takes it. Okay, so it has made landfall. Finally, it made landfall in Perry, Florida. So the center is located in Dublin, Georgia. It's going to weaken down to a tropical storm, head northwest, impact some of our eastern cities, impact the viewing area, as you can see here, impacted. And that's supposed to continue as a tropical storm, head west, and then become a tropical depression, okay? Folks, I cannot stress this enough to you guys, really. This is an extremely dangerous situation. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at 24-hour rainfall, and then I think I have to cut it short because I have to get ready for an appointment, okay? But I want to show this to you guys before I go. This is 24-hour rainfall, so basically since the rain has started, okay? And since the rain has started, we have had significant 24-hour rainfall rates, some approaching as much as now 20.4 inches of rain, 17.5 inches of rain, 16 up here, 13, 7. We have 6 right here as well. Even right here around the Asheville area, 3 inches of rain, 4, 5, even like 12, 7, and 8 right here. I mean, it's no wonder why we have these flash flood warnings and flash flood emergencies going on, you guys. So this is a very, very dangerous situation. I'll go ahead and show the tropical satellite, and then I think that's going to do it for us, really. This is the tropical satellite, so you can see now we have the storm here. Really, it's here. It is here. So we are getting the storm now, okay?
Well, first of all, I want to show you this clip here. I was outside in the middle of the storm, and this is what I said in the middle of the storm outside on the patio. And that was the worst decision of my life because of how bad the wind actually was. Here's the clip. All right, hello everyone. Chief Weather Forecaster Beckett Webb here. Not inside the Highland Weather Center, as you can see. We have an extreme power outage here in western North Carolina for much of our viewing area. Much of us are without power. Rain is continuing to fall. The wind is just absolutely insane. We have a ton of flash flood emergencies, including the whole county of Buncombe County as well. It's crazy. Here comes another wind gust. The thing is, too, if you can hear in the back, whenever all these wind gusts happen, and here we go. Whenever the wind gusts happen, trees in the woods, and there's a tree that fell just outside the center here, all just completely fell. And that's why you need to just stay inside. Wait out the storm inside. It's insane. Please do not travel unless you're fleeing and subject to flooding or under an evacuation order. You can hear the wind. We've had reports of 65, even 70 mile an hour wind gusts across Greenville, Spartanburg, all of that area. And it's just continuing to just batter down western North Carolina. We have over 200,000 people. Okay. A strong wind gust. A strong wind gust is happening, you can see. I would say 35, 40 mile an hour wind gust that was. But as I was saying before, a flash flood emergency is in effect for almost our entire western North Carolina counties, including the city of Buncombe, including Haywood County. All of those areas under a flash flood emergency. Please do not travel at all unless you are ordered to evacuate or fleeing an area subject to flooding. With all the wind and the rain that we're having, we have a chance of mudslides too. most likely, most greater, Buncombe County and all of those areas. Just be prepared. Plan to evacuate as well. Just be prepared. We currently are out here at the weather center. We are running backup mode on the 24/7 stream with live NOAA weather WC, and here comes a strong, super strong wind gust. Okay. Oh my God. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Hello everyone, Chief Weather Forecaster Beckett Webb here. You can see we are not inside the Highland Weather Center here. We have had an extreme power outage here. The power has been out for a couple of days. I am outside the Highland Weather Center here. Across the neighborhood here. It is absolutely crazy. There's multiple trees down. Power lines are down. All sorts of things. I'm not going to be surprised if the power is off for a week. At this time I'm making it, it is currently 2:26 p.m. on Saturday, September 28th, I believe. Yeah, 28th. And just extreme damage. We are currently without data at the time of making this video here. So we are not able to post out the specific alerts. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys all the damage that we have outside the Highland Weather Center here. Which you guys can't see it. But if you look all behind me, you can see a little bit of the wires are down. Not just that, we also have some power lines are snapped over. The power line down here just at the bottom, almost towards the bottom, the whole top of it is just snatched. All the others you can see even here behind me, they're still working on trying to get it worked out here. This morning I was working with my neighbors and we were able to open up the road for people to actually travel up and go to the needed places. So far, at this time of making this video, we also have a boiling water advisory that's currently in effect. And here, we also have lost complete water. Not just water, we also are without power and we're without service. So it is some catastrophic. As far as I've heard before the power went out, or before the data went out, my mistake, Mission Hospital was without power, was without water, all sorts of things. And it's just progressively getting worse as we continue to go throughout the day. As far as I've heard over on the radio, Buncombe County schools have closed schools for Monday and Tuesday. I haven't heard anything else about other schools at this point, but that's all that I've heard so far. So we are continuing to monitor. We're continuing to watching out here. Our backup mode will continue as normal over the next couple of days until we get our service restored to normal in the center here. And daily weather updates will not continue. So hopefully whenever I'm posting this out, this can be either Sunday or Monday of 29th or 30th. Data is hopefully coming back. What they've told BPR, of what they told so far, is that Verizon, AT&T, and all the other major carriers are currently working as hard as they can on bringing data and getting that restored as soon as possible. We are currently in no data. All that we have is SOS only. So we are not able to make calls, texts, or anything to loved ones. That's why I'm not able to post to you guys at the point of making this video here. But yeah, so everyone who's in Western North Carolina and Northeast Georgia, please stay safe. City of Asheville has put out a curfew until further notice for all of the city of Asheville, all city limits in Asheville, from 7:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. So please follow that rule as well. We've been hearing constant helicopters, and I believe there's another one that's continuing to fly over here, which you can hear it behind me. We're trying to figure out what it was. I believe another one before was a local, where is it? It was a local news station. That looks like the Army, so, or something like that. It looks like the Army is flying over with their helicopter here. It's pretty bad. As far as I've heard too, FEMA is also making its way over here to Asheville. So far, all of Asheville is isolated. The National Weather Service down there in Greenville-Spartanburg is not getting any weather observations from Asheville, from the Asheville Regional Airport. And as far as I've heard, planes are still continuing to fly out. But yeah, it is big things at the point of making this video here. And I will not be able to go ahead and go out inside the storm because we're still continuing to stay home today. And hopefully we'll be able to make it so I can get Wi-Fi and post out a few things. Stick around with this video here. We're going to go ahead and look at the damage from Tropical Storm Helene. This is being recorded as the biggest one since 2004. And it's just absolutely insane. All right, everyone, please stay safe. Stay tuned to Highland Weather. Stay tuned to our 24/7 backup mode streaming right now. Have a good rest of your day or night or afternoon, any of those. And I will be back with another update soon. So in conclusion, there's many other things that we could have done. That we could have warned people worse about how bad this storm was going to be. Out of all, I think that was the worst storm I've ever gone through in my entire life, and I hope I never go through that again. I hope we don't need to go on red mode 2 to 3 days before the storm actually hits. To this very day, 1 year after Hurricane Helene hit, you can still see some devastation still left from Hurricane Helene 1 year later. I want to thank the entire Highland Weather team. I want to thank Mason. I want to thank the National Weather Service. I want to thank every first responder that was out there in the beginning, middle, and end of the storm to help us through the worst part of it. I'm Chief Weather Forecaster Beckett Webb here. Thank you for watching this special presentation of Hurricane Helene and the look back. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you all on the Weather Watch TV program coming up very soon.
Hey y'all, this is Wesco. Look, I know I normally don't do videos like this, so you're going to have to forgive me for feeling a little bit out of my element. But I've got a good reason to be. Helene, my song I wrote with my buddy J.D. Williamson about the storm's impact on western North Carolina, comes out today. And 50% of those proceeds will go to helping those in western North Carolina affected by the storm through the NCCF Disaster Relief Fund. So
there's violence down on Market Street, but we didn't know violence till we met Helene. And the good folks are drowning in their mountain homes. You'll have to take a vacation just to bury your bones. Here's sunshine and roses on that TV screen. Them talking heads, they ain't seen what I've seen. I've seen a mother standing on top of her house, a baby in her arms as it floated on down. I watched my brother hanging on that limb, like a crucified Peter with a will to live. The smell of death lingers on that mountainside. There ain't nothing left but the tears I've yet to cry. You can't call for help when the lines are down and the roads are washed out, headed back to town. So we'll sit here waiting on the coming of the Lord till we run out of water and we meet him for sure. That hurricane took us by surprise, but when it rains, it river's bound to rise. There's violence down on Market Street, but we didn't know violence till we met